ASMR Retro Forever. Hey guys, welcome to ASMR Retro's Q&A episode part 4. This is where the viewers can send in questions and I answer them, obviously. So if you have any questions for the next video, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll try my best to get to them in the next Q&A video. And as always, I prefer to get questions, not personal questions about me personally, but questions about things that we like to discuss on this channel, the stuff about video games, comics, ASMR, movies, all that kind of stuff, Transformers, etc. So, let's get to the first question. Stop wasting time. Question number 1. Actually, last time I left off at question 47, so I'll continue at question 48. Number 48. And this question is by YouTube user ELIGHSWORLTV, and his question is: he says, "Hey, I have a question. What made you start ASMR?" So I'll write that. What made you start ASMR? I think I answered a very similar question to that before, but that's okay. I'll give you a brief answer. Well, maybe it won't be brief. I don't know. Maybe I'll ramble on for 5 hours, but that's okay. Basically, I experienced ASMR since like grade 4, so, but I didn't know what it was for a long time, and then I think maybe in 2000, maybe 10 or 11 or something like that, I started noticing these ASMR videos on YouTube, and I finally, looked it up and understood what it was, and became a big fan of the ASMRs on YouTube. And eventually I'm like, hey, maybe I can do something like that, but I didn't really know what type of videos to make. I was like, well, I'm not really interested in doing like cranial nerve exams and stuff, which I like watching those videos, but it's not something I wanted to do. So I did create my channel in 2014 in October, but I don't think I made my first video for like the first 2 years. And then finally I started making some videos. Actually, my channel was named something else in the beginning, but I started making some videos and I realized, hey, I can just talk about like video games and stuff like that, comics, stuff that I like. And then once I did that, I got a decent response, and I'm like, hey, this is pretty fun, so let me keep doing it. I'm helping relax people, so yeah, I just kept on doing it, and I enjoy doing it a lot. So that's oops, there goes my phone. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. So let me summarize very briefly. Answer: because I'm a big ASMR fan, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it in my explanation, but I like how ASMR allows me to be creative. I can really do pretty much anything in my videos as long as they're creative. And not all my videos are creative, but like when I do these little animations and stuff, I like doing stuff like that. So I'll put creativity. Hopefully I'm spelling everything right. And I enjoy the feedback from you guys. Probably one of my favorite parts, so I guess that's what keeps me going. It's getting the feedback from the viewers. Alright, Elijah's World TV, thank you for the question. Now, we go to the color blue, because why not? Number 49. And it is by DoubleTJohnsonBoy. It's from Double D Johnson Boy, and he wants to know what was the first what was the first VHS that you watched that was a movie or TV show? So yeah, in the last video, the last Q&A video, he asked what was the first VHS, my first VHS experience, and I explained how it was a instructional video for my VCR. So now he wants to know which is the first VHS I watched that was an actual movie or TV show. So I'll answer that now. So let me get the question down. I'll just say first VHS show slash movie. And I don't even know if you can see this color of blue, but I'm trying my best here. Anyways, okay, so I don't know what the first one that I watched is, but I'll tell you the first one that I owned. That was a show or movie. It was actually a Transformers episode. You know, the original 80s Transformers show. It was the 4th episode, and it was called Transport to Oblivion. And it's a really classic episode, I guess. They're all classic episodes, but it's the one where Megatron wants to create this, well, he does create a space bridge to Cybertron, so he can transport Energon cubes to Cybertron to Shockwave. But he needs somebody to, I guess, guide the craft over the space bridge. So he kidnaps Spike to do that, and he also puts this thing in Bumblebee's head to kind of brainwash him. So then Bumblebee goes back to the Autobots and gives them false information, which leads to conflict, of course. Yeah, it's really fun episode. I don't have the VHS anymore, unfortunately. I think I gave it away to, I don't know, some kid, some cousin, relative. I don't remember, but yeah, that was my first actual VHS. That was a show or movie, and yes, I watched it a billion trillion times, and I can still smell that new VHS smell that you used to get back then. I don't know if it was from the VHS or from the VCR itself, but yeah, so there's my, oh, and you wanted a link to the episode. I can't find it on YouTube. There's a lot of clips of the episode on YouTube. If you just type in, what was it called, Transport to Oblivion, Transformers, you'll find it. You'll find clips of it, but I couldn't find any that were in good quality, so you're not gonna get the greatest quality video. Might make the episode not look so good. So the answer is Transformers. Fourth episode. And of course that's season 1. And it's called Transport to Oblivion. And actually, when Transformers kind of died out, and then I started getting back into it, it was really hard to find anything to do with Transformers in like the early 90s. And like this was the first thing that I found in I was like, oh wow, yeah, I remember I have this episode of Transformers. So for a while this was like the only, I guess, Transformers retro thing that I had. But that's a story for another day. is from MEXFOX 21. MEXFOX 21. Fox 21. And Mex would like to know, hello Retro, a question I want to ask is, what was the last movie you have watched and rated? Okay. So, last movie watched, rated. Okay, I haven't seen too many movies recently, honestly, because partly because we're on lockdown. Basically, the theaters are closed, and yeah, it's rare that I watch. Now, I'm assuming you meant like a recent new movie, or maybe you just meant any movie. I'm not really sure, but the last quote unquote new or recent movie that I seen that I can remember. I mean, there's a few. Maybe what's it called? The Irishman. I think it was a Netflix movie or something like that with Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro. But I don't want to rate that one because I didn't really see, like, didn't finish watching it because it was so long. I didn't know it was like over 3 hours, and I got like really close to the end, but I just had to go to sleep, so I wouldn't be fair to rate that one. Another recent movie I saw was Ford versus Ferrari, and I think I did talk about this one in my last video as well. So I will give that one a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really good. I really like those movies about, something about some moment in history or some biography or something like that. Those are always very interesting. I don't know how accurate it is, but those movies are always embellished a little bit to make it more interesting. So it's basically about how Ford wanted to create a race car to compete with Ferrari because at the time, Ford wasn't known as a race car. I don't know anything about cars. I don't think it still is known as a race car. I don't know, but and then so they hired what's his name, Matt Damon's character, who was a former race car driver, to help be on the design team, and then they got Christian Bale's character to be the driver of the car. So a lot of drama ensues. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I suggest watching it if you like those based on a true story kind of movies, or if you like cars at all. I'm not even that into cars, but I found myself that I enjoyed it a lot. So the answer is Ford. I think it's Ford v Ferrari, because that's what they do these days. But you get the idea. That's how you spell Ferrari, right? Ferrari. I think so. And like I said, 4 out of 5. Alright, Max Fox, thank you for the question. Okay, now we go to, let's see, what color? Pink. And we are on 51, making good progression. Good progression. And it is IOANNISFYRIS. Ionis. I still don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, bro. Yeah. So he or she wants to know. My question is: do you have a favorite dinosaur slash fossil? If yes, which one is it? Being a paleontologist, I had to ask. Wow, that's really cool that you're a paleontologist. Now I feel a little bit nervous because I have to give a good answer. So let's see. Well, first let me write the question here. Questione fave dino sour slash fusile, and which one and which says that. Every kid is gonna say that, but it's just the coolest looking. Has that massive jaw. Just really fascinating to look at, I guess. And so that would be the short answer, and I guess the accurate answer. But the first time I read the question, the first thing that came to my mind, and this is not a fossil, I guess it's more of a mummification, and it's not a dinosaur. There was an Iceman. They call it Otzi, the Iceman, OTCI, and I think he was found. I think it was like 5,000-year-old body that they found pretty well preserved in the ice. I think in the Italian slash Austrian Alps, something like that. Anyways, and it's pretty freaky to look at this thing, how well preserved it is, and you can see like the muscles and everything like that. And there's a picture, and if you're squeamish, don't look this up because it is kind of, it may be disturbing, but you can see his body kind of sticking out of the ice where they found him, and you can see like the details of his spine and all that stuff. So, and I remember when I was, I think in grade 6 is when they discovered this thing, or around there, and I saw the picture in a National Geographic magazine at school, so I cut it out and I put it in sort of the, like this binder, you know, it has the plastic inserts, so you can put a cover on your binder. Yeah, I put it on that, so I guess maybe to be, to gross out the girls or something, I don't know, but anyways, that's the first thing that came to my mind, so technically not a fossil or a dinosaur, but I just had to bring that up because when will I ever get a chance to bring that up? So the answer is T. Rex. And also, I'll just put good old Otzi. I didn't even know he had a name until I just looked it up for this video. Alright, thanks, Ianis, for your question. Really appreciate it. It looks like it's getting dark. Let me adjust the lighting for a second here. There we go, it's better. Getting kind of dark out there. I'm just using natural light today. Okay. Next up is question number 42. Oh, sorry, 52. Duh. And it is from Doomguy. Doomguy. Wow, Doomguy, it's an honor to meet you. Big fan of your work, big fan. So he says, what's your favorite video game? And I actually responded in the comments saying I answered that question in another video and asked if you wanted to ask a different question. And then he said, what's your favorite Doom game? And funny enough, the answer to both of those questions is probably Doom 2. Well, actually, okay, let me slow down my roll just a little bit. I'll just say fave Doom game. Answer Doom 2. And yeah, like it's hard for me to pick a favorite video game, and sure, maybe I can make an argument that other games are my favorite, like Super Mario Brothers 3, or one of the Castlevania games, or Fallout 3, or whatever, but I think I picked Doom 2 because just in terms of the sheer number of hours that I spent on Doom 2, including all the WODs, the levels that people make, and the, what do you call it, for lack of a better word, enhancements to the game, and all that stuff. There's just so many hours of fun had on that game. Is it really the best game ever? I don't know about that, but definitely the game I wasted most of my life on. Not wasted, but you know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I would have to say Doom 2 would be the answer to that question. So thanks, Doom Guy. You're the star of my favorite game. I like all the Doom games though. I love Doom Eternal, which you probably know that I'm doing a playthrough of that. Okay, now let's go to what color's next? Blue. The color that cannot be seen. Okay, Bruce Lee. It's a good quote, actually. That's pretty powerful. I never heard it before. Okay, my favorite quote. I'm pretty bad with quotes because I'll hear a quote I like and be like, wow, that's pretty awesome. But then I forget it like pretty quick, so it was hard for me to think of a favorite, but one that just kind of popped out was, oh, sorry, let me write the question first. Fave quote. Well, why did I put it at the end of fave? I don't know. Fave quote. That would be the first one that I thought of. I'm not sure exactly the exact quote or who said it, but the idea is it goes something like this. Sorry, I lost it. I had it written. Yeah, there it is. Okay, I told you I had a bad memory. Better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. Did I get that right? Better to die on your feet. Yeah. So what does that mean to me? Well, it can mean a few things. I mean, kind of like saying, it's better to stand up and fight for what you believe in and sort of have that freedom than to live as a coward serving somebody else on your knees kind of thing. Even if, when you stand up for yourself, you might end up getting negative consequences that you don't like, but it's still better to live that way or to die that way. I mean, not literally die, of course, but it's better to stand up for what you believe in, despite the negative consequences, rather than live like a servant. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I explained that right, but that's kind of the way I see it. Just basically be brave, be you, and screw everybody else, screw what they say. Even if there's haters and they try to get you down or drag you down or whatever, it's still better to be yourself than to try to go along and be similar to somebody else or fit some other mold that's not you, or to be yes man or woman for somebody else. So that's kind of what I get out of it, and I have no idea who said that or who came up with that concept, but it's basically better to die on your feet than live on your knees. And I'll put a question mark there indicating I don't know who said it. Okay. Thank you for your question, Nathaniel. I hope you enjoyed it. It's very. Oh no, you had a part 2 actually. You had a second question. Sorry, my bad. So that's Q1, and that's A1, and then Q2 is: do you have a favorite sports team? Fave sports team. I think I answered this before, but that's okay. I'm not really too into sports, but if I had to pick one, I used to watch hockey a little bit, and Toronto was my team, so I will say, and don't hate me for that, Toronto gets a lot of hate, but maybe not as much as Montreal does. Toronto Maple Leafs NHL. Alright, Nathaniel, thank you for your double dose of questions. Let's see if I can squeeze one more in here. Alright. Next question is 54 by Rike, Rike 4, Rike 4. And the question is: favorite movies and modern video games. Fave movies guessing you meant modern movies as well, not just modern video games. So let's see. Answers for games. Again, as you probably obviously know, I'm more of a retro guy for games and movies. And it really depends on what you mean by modern, but I'm gonna list some games and movies that came out within the last 5 to 10 years. So that's even 10-year-old game for me is modern. I'm used to the games from the 80s and 90s. So for games, of course, Doom, Eternal, and 2016. What else? Fallout 4. Fallout. I'll include 3 in there as well. 3 and 4. Skyrim. What else? Minecraft. That's been around for a while, but it's still being played today, so I'll include that. And Borderlands. I'm a fan of the Borderlands series. Borderlands. Specifically Part 2. And what else? Yeah, I guess that's about it for games. For movies, I'm gonna try to squeeze this in here at the bottom. Movies. Let me think. So there was Spider-Man. Spider-Man Homecoming. I'll just write Spider-Man because I can't fit it in there. Infinity War, of course. Infinity War. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy, the second one I really liked. Guardians of... I'll just put G. Volume 2. I really want to fit all this on one page. This question, that is. What else? And Ford versus Ferrari, like I mentioned before. Ford v Ferrari. Just fit it all in. Alright, thank you very much, Reik, for. I appreciate the question. I hope you enjoyed the answers. Now we gotta switch it up just a little bit. By that I mean just switching the page. And okay, what's next? Who's next? Next question. What was the last color I used? Green. So now let's go to orange. No, pink. Gotta keep the pattern here. Very important. Very important indeed. Okay. The next question is 55. I can try 55, and it is from Leonardo Baracaldo. And he says, what games do you have on Steam, and do you like to play horror games like the FNAF series? So, Steam games and FNAF question mark. And the answer you might not like is I'm actually gonna do a video about my Steam games. Well, actually, all my computer games. So, part 1 will be my physical computer games that I have, and then I'll do a video part 2 where I show you my Steam games. I don't have a lot of Steam games, but I still think that'll make a good video. So stay tuned for that. As far as the FNAF, I can't remember what that is. I remember I looked it up and I didn't play it, but hold on, let me double check that for you. which I've seen what kind of game it is exactly. Some kind of horror, maybe puzzle game or strategy game or something like, not strategy, but mystery type game. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks kind of cool from what I've seen, so maybe I'll check it out. So Steam games, I'll say stay tuned and no for that FNEF. No, in that I haven't played it, but looks like something I could enjoy. Alright, Leonardo, thanks for the question. Now we shall move on to the next color and the next number, which is orange, and 56. Okay, it is by DEMYANBETRYK. Timian Petrick. Timian. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And the question asked was, what is your favorite type of game system? I'm not sure what you mean by favorite type. I guess you just mean what's my favorite game system. Game system. I used to be mostly a console gamer, but recently I've been playing mostly just Steam games, and I got rid of most of my consoles a few years ago, maybe more than a few years ago now, but I kind of regret that. I still have my NES though, and my N64. My favorite game system, I mean technically I was always more of a Nintendo fanboy. So I usually had all the Nintendo systems up to a certain point. I think when the Wii came out was when I started losing interest. But if I had to pick one console to say is my absolute favorite, I guess I'd pick the NES. Just because I had the most memories with that, and that's when I think I enjoy video games the most. Maybe just because of my age was the right age for it, but yeah, I would say Nintendo, NES specifically. But yeah, I love that SNES as well. I love the GameCube, N64, but yeah, NES I think would be the safe bet for me. Alright, Demian, thanks for the question. And now I will go to the next color. So after orange comes blue once again. And we're on 57. 57 Timothy 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 Bryce. Hey Timothy. Timothy would like to know, as an ASMR artist, do you or are you able to relax to your own videos, or does listening to your own videos feel weird? It's a pretty good question. I wonder that myself about other ASMR artists, and as far as I know, at least one of them can get tingles by listening to their own stuff. But for me personally, well, let me write the question. I keep forgetting to do that. So how can I shorten this down? Tingles. Is it GLES? Tingle. I think that's right. Tingles from own videos. And yeah, as I was saying, I don't really get tingles from my own video. I don't get tingles from my own videos. And I'm not sure why that is. It's true that I don't really like the sound of my own voice too much. I mean, I don't hate it, but it is kind of awkward hearing my own voice. But I don't think that's it, because I do some videos, or I used to do videos where I wouldn't talk. It would just be like button controlling sound effects and stuff like that. And that didn't give me tingles either, so I don't know what it is and why it is, but I don't seem tingles or relaxation from my own videos. So, interesting question though. There's definitely some interesting science behind ASMR, some interesting questions to be answered. So, the answer is no. And also, it's true, I don't like hearing my voice. Although, because I started making ASMR videos and I have to edit the videos, obviously I have to hear my voice a lot. And since I started doing that, I'm much more accepting of my voice, and it doesn't bother me nearly as much as it used to. So that's a positive thing, I think. So thanks, Timothy Bryce. I appreciate the question. Now from blue, we're going to green. And number 58. 58 is by Charles C. H. A. R. L. E. S. B. R. O. N. S. O. N. Charles Bronson. And Charles would like to know, he says 87. How old are you? Because I think I mentioned the year 1987 in my last video, my last Q&A, when I was talking about my first VHS experience. And so basically he wants to know, how old are you? Well, let me see. I'm old, very old. I'll just say that I'm in my late 30s. I don't like to go into like super amount of detail again about my personal life, but yeah, I'm probably older than a lot of people think that I am. So yeah, I'll just go with late 30s. That sounds about right. That's what I'll go with. Late 30s. Alright, Charles, thank you for your question. Hey guys, it's Retro with a message from the editing room. I actually forgot to do one of the questions. It's number 59. I apologize for that. So I'll do it now really quick. This is from Ace Slays. Ace Slays. I was going Ace. Sorry, I forgot about your question. So the question is, have you ever thought about doing a non-ASMR channel? And the answer to that is actually yes, I have thought about it, but I really don't have time to work on another channel. Maybe actually I do have one other channel where I make music, but I barely work on it, and I have like 3 or 4 videos, and I'm not quite ready to share it with you guys. Maybe when I have some more content up there. But in general, I don't really have too much time to work on other videos. I have someone that suggested I do a non-ASMR Twitch channel, which is that what they call it, channels, whatever, Twitch, whatever. So that's something, that's a possibility, but I don't know. Or I can just do an ASMR Twitch channel where I do live game streams or whatever. I don't know, who knows, we'll see. But for now, I'm just focusing on this channel. It keeps me pretty busy, so thanks, Ace Lays, and once again, I apologize for missing your question in the video. Alright, back to the original video. Now, let's go to green, let's go back to pink. I think that's the pattern I'm using. And we are all the way up to question 60. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Here's the lucky number 60 is H O T C A K E S. Hotcakes. Hey Hotcakes, how's it going? Hotcakes has a question. Hotcakes wants to know my opinion on the bands Yes and King Crimson. Yes and King Crimson. Crimson. And honestly, I haven't heard much other. Before this, I haven't heard any other stuff that I'm aware of. I've heard of them though, and so I looked up a few other songs, and wow, they're a very talented band. I was kind of surprised actually. Didn't really know what to expect. Out of the two of them, I would say, from what I've heard, that I like Yes better. King Crimson seems a little bit more experimental, a little bit more out there kind of thing, which is not a bad thing. But in terms of if I just want to hear a song that I can pick up and listen to, it's a little bit more. Yes, it's a little bit more digestible, I think, from what I've heard. But yeah, still both pretty amazing bands. So you got pretty good taste in music. I'll say that much. I'll probably might want to get into them a little bit. And if you could recommend which album from each band to listen to, I might give it a listen. So yeah, I'll just say my opinion. And again, this is just based on hearing a few minutes of each band. Is that it's good stuff. And but overall, I like Yes the best. Alright, thank you, Hotcakes. It's a good question. Got to learn something new myself. That's always a good thing. Okay, now we're going to number 61. 61 by Jermaine Reese. Jermaine Reese. Jermaine Reese. Hey Jermaine, how's it going? Jermaine would like to know, do you have a wife? Do you have a wife? Well, Jermaine, I'm committed to the journey of creating the best possible ASMR videos and the most spine-tingling sounds ever produced for a human being. Retro culture is my mistress, ASMR is my bride, and you are my children. Okay, I'm just kidding. That made no sense, but I know it's kind of creepy. The real answer is dot dot dot. I plead the fifth on that one. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to get into personal things about me. I'd rather leave that a mystery. But maybe one day I'll be more comfortable sharing more personal stuff like that. But regardless, I appreciate the question, Jermaine. Thanks for sending it in or commenting it. Alright, so that was 61. Let's go to 62, or as I like to call it, 60 blue, because I'm using the blue color. I just made that up like right now. Just made it up. It's amazing, right? Okay. And 62 is from S. H-A-R-K-I-E. Sharky. 62 is from Sharky, and Sharky would like to know, what is your favorite Marvel comic series and why? I just finished reading the 1984 Secret Wars series and really enjoyed it. Okay, so the question is fave comic series and why? Let me just adjust this, okay? I think I answered this as well, but definitely my favorite comic series would be the Transformers comics from, obviously the Marvel Transformers comics, which was the original Transformers comics. There's 80 issues, and the reason why, I guess, is mainly because I'm a Transformers fanboy, but it's not just because of that. I just found the stories to be pretty intriguing. I like the characters, and there's a lot of characters, and I don't know, just thought the artwork, especially in the last 10 to 20 issues, was just really well done. The story was really well done, and yeah, it's just a pleasure to collect and read. I have almost all of them. I'm just missing maybe 5 to 10 issues in total. But yeah, other than Transformers, maybe like obviously the Infinity Gauntlet and 6-issue series and anything to do with Spider-Man. So Amazing Spider-Man is definitely one of my favorite series. So the answer in short form would be Transformers. 80 issues. And basically, as you can probably tell by now, the answer to most of my questions is usually Transformers. Okay, thanks. Who is this? Sharky. I appreciate your question. Thank you for taking the time to write it down and sending it in. Why do I keep saying sending it in as if you're sending me like a letter or something? I don't know. That's old school stuff right there. And the last question for today is 64, and it is by BUGGYME. Buggy McGee. I love that username, Buggy, because I love bugs, and I want to get a bug, maybe either a bug or a beagle. But yeah, I like the name. So Buggy asks, "Who's your favorite group out of Fantastic Four or X-Men?" So Fantastic Four or X-Men? That's a good question. They're both really good groups. I guess I would have to say X-Men, because I grew up watching the X-Men show in the early to mid 90s. It's a really good X-Men show, and then I had my brother had quite a few X-Men comics that he enjoyed looking at and reading. I didn't really see too many I didn't really have too many Fantastic Four comics as a kid, although I collected a few later. Although Fantastic Four has not limited, but it has 4 characters, and you think that would give them a better chance to build up each character better in terms of their, characteristics and stuff like that. But I kind of find them a little bit lacking in the character department, whereas X-Men has like a whole bunch of characters, and you'd figure that they wouldn't be as cool or have such cool histories and stuff like that. But I find that they do, from what I know. I mean, obviously I've only read a small percentage of each of those comic books, but just from what I've seen, the characters from X-Men seem to be a little bit more interesting to me. But hey, you know what? They're both awesome, so you can't go wrong. So my answer is X-Men. But let me know if you have a different opinion. That's cool. Everyone, to each their own. Wait a minute, I missed something. This is question 63. Wow, okay, I almost made a major screw up. I would have to start all over for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I would start all over. But anyway, that will do it for this episode. I answered questions 48 to 63. So as always, if you have a question for the next the next Q&A video, leave it in the description in this video, and I will get to it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it relaxing, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye bye.